May it please the court, opposing counsel, and members of the jury. They had accusations, but they didn't have any answers. Members of the jury, you sat in those exact same seats for 2.5 hours and heard the state throw accusation after accusation after accusation in the direction of my client. But with each new accusation came a new unanswered question. Questions that should have been addressed long before we stepped into this courtroom. Crucial questions. Like when Parker died, how Parker died, and why Miss Ryder's even being accused today. And these were things that you managed to go through the entirety of today's trial and never once heard from the state. They didn't give you a time of death. They didn't even explain to you what exactly took place. You heard evidence about screams. You heard evidence about abandonment on the trail, abandonment on the campsite. You heard evidence about the trail being dangerous, about the campsite being dangerous. But they never narrowed it down. Not once did they ever actually tell you what took place. And members of the jury, that's a problem. You see, the state walked into this room with the highest burden in our judicial system. You see, they had to prove Miss Ryder's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And there were so many things that they had to show you. First and foremost, they had to show you that Miss Ryder created a substantial risk to Parker's body that day. This isn't just some type of injury like a trip or a fall or a sprained wrist. This was a severe physical injury that was a result of Miss Ryder's actions. You see, the state needed to provide to you evidence that Miss Ryder's actions were the direct and foreseeable cause of Parker's death. That had it not been for Miss Ryder taking her up on that trail and abandoning her, or leaving her, or knowing that it was too dangerous for her, Parker would still be here today. But members of the jury, they didn't do that. And not only did they not address when she died, or how she died, but they didn't explain to you what actually happened that day. They didn't address any of the things that we brought up to you throughout today's trial. I want to talk about that first question, when Parker died. Now, Ms. Rodriguez took that stand on behalf of the state, and she told you that it was around 4:30 that she heard Parker screaming. Ms. Mongoose even admitted it on closing arguments just a couple moments ago. But what they didn't mention was where Ms. Rodriguez was at that point in time. You see, at that point in time, Ms. Rodriguez said that she was able to just run right down the trail a couple of seconds, and she saw it. She said that it takes 3 miles to get from the trailhead to the overlook. She definitely didn't get there because it only took her a couple of moments. Miss Ryder said they didn't even make it that far, and that was around 4:30. You actually received a text message that was sent at 4:38 by Parker. At 4:38, you heard that cellular service wasn't something that Parker had on the lookout. Every single witness that took that stand said that it was difficult for her to receive cellular service, that Parker didn't have cellular service that day. Cameron Lee told you that the only place that he was able to receive cellular service was over here by the campsites. Members of the jury, that means that Parker had to have been over by the campsites at 4:38. But Detective Chesney took that stand and said he didn't even take that into consideration. The last point in time in which Parker was known to be alive wasn't something of a concern to him. The only thing that he worried about was arresting Miss Ryder prior to even finding Parker's body. That wasn't the only question that was left unanswered by the state. They also didn't address how Parker died, what even happened that day. You see, Miss Washington, she took that stand and she told you that Miss Ryder went through a rehabilitation process unlike no other. Miss Washington took that stand and she told you that what she was teaching Miss Ryder while she was away were good parenting skills. Now, you actually received a document about the knowledge that Miss Ryder had of her daughter's disease, the osteogenesis imperfecta. Now, what you heard in trial today was that osteogenesis imperfecta, it makes it where your bones are more likely to break a lot easier. But one of the ways in which your bones weaken is a lack of immobility. And Miss Dallas, knowing that, took that stand and said that she allowed Parker to stay in her room every single day for 6 straight years. Not only that, she didn't tell Miss Ryder about this information. Members of the jury, how can Miss Ryder act negligent knowingly if she doesn't even understand the severity of her daughter's illness? If she doesn't even understand the level in which her daughter's bones had weakened? And Miss Dallas told you today that all of the information that Miss Ryder had on her daughter's illness was provided by her, and she didn't send it her way. Detective Chesney actually took that stand and said from what he reviewed, the last message that was sent, the last letter that was sent 5 years ago. That's what Detective Chesney, the lead investigator in today's case, told you. There was no information about brittle bone disease after that. And Miss Ryder, she agreed with that. Members of the jury, you also heard about a sign in which opposing counsel in the state said was supposed to notify Miss Ryder that she shouldn't be going on that trail. But members of the jury, what did you hear from the camp owner herself when she took that stand? Oh, that sign, it's very easy to miss. We've got a lot of people that just walk right by it and they don't even realize. Mr. Lee took that stand and said it's covered by trees. It was difficult for him to see. And he goes to that campsite every other weekend. Members of the jury, Miss Ryder took that stand and said she didn't see the sign either. And Detective Chesney, he had no proof that Miss Ryder saw that sign. They don't have answers to these questions. They don't have evidence. So members of the jury, the question that you might be asking yourself is if they don't have answers to these questions, if they didn't have evidence, why are we even here in court today? If they weren't even able to tell me what happened, why are we sitting here listening to a trial? And members of the jury, Miss Ryder, she took that stand and she told you from the very beginning, it was all accusations and no answers. She told you, and Detective Chesney corroborated it, that she was arrested before they even conducted a search to find whether or not Parker was missing. Miss Ryder told you that she was arrested before they even before they even interviewed any eyewitnesses. She was conducted before they even talked to the camp owner to see who else was on the trail. They hadn't even found Parker's body yet, and Miss Ryder was already in handcuffs. Members of the jury, that's the reason why Miss Ryder's being accused. Because Detective Chesney, he didn't have any other suspects. It was easy to accuse Miss Ryder. But members of the jury, we have to ask the question, what is she being accused for? What is it that the state's actually charging her for? It's involuntary manslaughter. And that doesn't simply mean just taking Parker on a dangerous trail. She can't be deemed negligent just because she took Parker on a trail that other people knew was dangerous. The state needed to show that Miss Ryder herself had been told that it was dangerous. That Miss Ryder herself knew that severe harm could result from Parker as a result of going on that trail, and they didn't show that once. Not through one witness, not through one direct examination, not through one cross-examination, and when they had the opportunity to leave a lasting impression on closing arguments, they didn't do it then either. Members of the jury, with this lack of proof, with this lack of evidence, you can't find Miss Ryder guilty because she's innocent until she's proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Members of the jury, when you go back into jury deliberations and you look at the lack of evidence that you have in front of you, you look at the lack of eyewitness testimony, the lack of answers to the questions that are crucial, we're confident that you'll find Miss Ryder not guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Thank you.